There's nothing more irritating than some scratches and cracks on your tablet. You don't have to live that way for long, because today I'm going to show you how to replace the front panel on your iPad mini. Hi, I'm Gwendolyn with iFixit, and for this repair you're going to need an iOpener, spudger, tweezers, picks, Phillips 00 screwdriver, plastic opening tools, and a small suction cup. Warning: this repair is extremely complicated. Lots of components are adhered and can be easily broken. Please proceed with caution and remember to follow each step on the guide on our site. I have all the parts and tools I need in my iOpener kit and my Protech toolkit, and I never do a repair without my magnetic mat. Before we jump in, I want to warn you that some of these steps sound complicated but are pretty simple. You may want to watch the upcoming step before you try it yourself. And as always, use our step-by-step guide as a reference. Having a picture to zoom in on can be very helpful when you're deciding on what piece to work on next. Okay, let's get started. First off, you want to make sure your iPad is off and completely disconnected from any power source. And to open this bad boy, we're going to use our iOpener, which heats up and softens all the adhesive holding the front panel in place. But keep your picks and opening tools handy because you're gonna need those to keep the glue from resetting after we've softened it. Now get your suction cup and place it on the bottom right corner of the front panel glass, just above the lower bezel and near the right edge of the Mini. Pull up on the suction cup enough to open a small gap between the front panel glass and the rear panel. Using a plastic opening tool, begin prying the glass up and away from the bezel. It can be hard to see, but you want to make sure you insert the tool between the bezel and the glass. As soon as you're able to open a small gap, insert the first of your picks to prevent the panel from reattaching to the glue. You may even want to hit it with some more heat from your iOpener if it gives you some resistance. One quick warning before you start: you want to be wary when you're using the picks at the bottom section of the iPad. The Wi-Fi antenna is attached to the bottom right edge of the rear case. Work carefully and slowly, making sure not to sever this cable. Now you're going to make your way up the right side by starting with heat and then sliding the opening tool up the edge and adding another pick once you get to the top right corner. Repeat this process from the bottom right corner to the bottom left corner, but be careful because you can sever the digitizer cable and the Wi-Fi antenna. Now it's time to move from the bottom left corner to the top left corner. Once that's done, you can finish from the top left to the top right. You want to stop once you reach the camera at the top because you can damage the camera or its cable if you slide a guitar pick over the camera. So just slide up to the camera and pick it up on the other side. When sliding the pick, you want to make sure it's never pushed beyond the black bezel of your iPad. If you ever see the pick through the glass, you're in way too far. Having the pick in that far can potentially get adhesive residue on your LCD or damage some of the internal components. Holding the iPad by the top two corners, rotate the front glass away from the iPad. Don't just pull it off because the front panel is still attached to the logic board. Now you can remove the small foam tape covering the screws securing the LCD to the rear case. There's a small piece of tape covering the bottom and top right screws, and the top left LCD screw might be covered by adhesive tape from the front panel. You can use your tweezers to remove those, and once you have a clear view of all 4 LCD screws, you can get to work on them with your Phillips driver. First, we have a few things to take care of before we can get to the LCD metal shield. We're going to use a pair of tweezers to peel up the small piece of tape connecting the LCD frame to the right speaker. Then we can pull the top of the foam tape surrounding the LCD. With the foam tape out of the way, you should be able to see the tape that's connecting the LCD frame to the LCD. Use the tip of your spudger to separate the tape. Time to turn our attention to the shield plate. The LCD is glued to the shield plate, so we're going to use our picks and start at the gap between the LCD and the rear case, near the top and left side of the LCD. Now you can bend your pick slightly, just enough to create a small gap. Continue with your pick in this way down the left side and then the right, gently separating the LCD from the rear case. You may have to repeat this a few times until the LCD is easily moved left and right. Now that it's loose, you can use the flat end of your spudger to separate the adhesive beneath. But be sure to get the spudger between the LCD frame and the backing plate and not beneath the plate. Prying up on the plate will damage it because it's screwed down to the rear case beneath the LCD. Let's start with the top right side, and once the flat end of your spudger is in the correct position, we're going to slowly push our spudger all the way along the side, in between the LCD frame and the metal backing. The goal is to separate the adhesive, not to pry the LCD up. So keep the pointed tip of the spudger as low as possible to prevent bending the LCD. If you see the LCD bending in any way, stop this step and go back to loosening it with your picks before coming back to this. Repeat this step along the top and left side, and then try to lift it a couple of inches from the rear case. Once you feel it loosened, you can flip the LCD onto the front glass, but don't try to remove the LCD because it's still attached by the data cable. There are 16 screws that need to be removed from the LCD shield plate, so get moving. Now we can pry the shield away from the rear case with the flat end of our spudger and remove it. On to the battery connector. Remove the 3 screws holding the connector shield in place and remove the shield. But be sure to make a note of where these screws came out on your magnetic mat or wherever you're sorting your screws. You want to make sure you don't put any other screws here upon reassembly, as longer screws might strip the screw holes and result in irreparable damage to the logic board. Moving on, we need to use our opening tool or spudger to disconnect the battery and LCD connector from the sockets on the logic board. You would think the LCD would be free by now, but wait, there's more! Tape to deal with. So to deal with the tape that connects the LCD to the rest of the iPad, we just need to grab the LCD in one hand and insert the spudger between the LCD tape and the iPad's right side. Slide the spudger to separate the tape and gently lift the LCD. Repeat on the remaining tape moving left. And just like that, the LCD is finally free and can be lifted out. Now we can focus on the front panel. First up, disconnect the digitizer cable from the logic board and the digitizer cable board from the rear case. Once those are safely disconnected, you can remove the front panel. Make sure your new digitizer cable is folded over onto itself and press firmly to secure the adhesive. You'll also need to transfer the smart cover magnets on your old front panel to your new front panel. For reassembly, we recommend you follow the step-by-step guide on iFixit.com in reverse, and if you're in the mood to see a reassembly video, check out our iPad Mini GSM reassembly video on our channel. You can find all the parts and tools you need for this and many more repairs at iFixit.com. And let us know how it goes. You can find me on Twitter at Gwendolyn Gay and follow iFixit at iFixit. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date on all our latest teardowns and repair videos, and give us a like on Facebook at facebook.com/iFixit.